Welcome to the Wyoming Women's Business Center's 2022 Business Education Webinar Series. Today's presentation is Behind the Algorithm, Building Your Instagram Strategy. My name is Jessica Brower, and I am the Marketing Director at the Wyoming Women's Business Center, and I will be your speaker today. So I'm going to share a bit with you about the Wyoming Women's Business Center here in a moment. But before we get started, I want you to locate the little hand button, which is likely at the bottom of your screen. Now, how many of you have felt personally victimized by the Instagram algorithm before? If so, go ahead and click that hand button. Maybe you have a piece of content and it doesn't seem to get to any of your customers and it's incredibly frustrating. Or maybe things are flipped and you keep seeing the same kinds of posts nudging you to buy one of those things that you probably don't need to, but you can't help yourself. Well, it looks like 24 of the 25 participants, and I guess I'm the 25th participant, all agree. So I'm glad that we all share this feeling. So before we get into this, I'm going to point out that Zoom control panel, which you just found on the bottom of your screen, and call attention to both the questions and the chat function. If you have any comments or questions during the webinar today, I'd like you to use those. The chat will be best for introducing yourself and connecting with others in the room, but I will direct my attention to the questions at the end of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded, and a link to access the recording via Zoom will be sent out to all registrants shortly after the live event today. So feel free to share that link with your peers, your team, or friends who you think would enjoy today's content. Or if you need to go back and reference anything, you're always welcome to. If you're watching this webinar live, a survey will launch shortly after we close the presentation. Please complete the survey, as this provides us and our funding partners with valuable information. And just as a reminder, all participants are muted to minimize any background noise. So again, if you have any questions or comments during the presentation, go ahead and use that question box. So let's go over some quick information about the WWBC, just in case you aren't familiar with us already. We are a nonprofit organization whose mission is to enable and empower Wyoming entrepreneurs, with a special emphasis on women. We do that through 3 distinct programs. The first is our business counseling and training program, which is always free. That's what brought you here today. The second is our microloan program, which offers loans from $500 to $50,000 for businesses that have been denied from a traditional lending source. And third is the Artist Development Center that we run in conjunction with our Works of Wyoming store in downtown Laramie. And what I really want to get across to you is that we specialize in micro enterprises. So what is a micro enterprise? It's a business that has less than 6 employees. The majority are 1 or 2 person businesses, likely like many of you. And these businesses were able to launch for under $35,000. Businesses like yoga studios, hairstylists, in-home daycare providers, marketing consultants, cleaning services, these are all great examples of our clients. So if you're not already a client of the WWBC and you'd like to be, it's quick and easy. You can sign up by going to wyomingwomen.org and clicking on the Sign Up Now button, which is that red button at the top of the page. So with that, let's jump into it. I'm going to kick things off by launching a poll. This poll is asking, how would you define your relationship with the Instagram algorithm? Go ahead and just pick which one best applies. I feel very comfortable in my understanding of the Instagram algorithm and how it affects my content reach. I feel somewhat familiar with the algorithm's processes. I'm unfamiliar with how the algorithm operates. And lastly, I was unaware that there was an algorithm for Instagram. I'm going to give you just a few more moments here. Well, it looks like a lot of us are floating right in the middle. So either unfamiliar with how the algorithm operates or somewhat familiar, which seems like you're in the right place. So let's start with the basics. What is an algorithm even? And what is it doing? So simply put, an algorithm is a set of instructions or a process for solving a problem. Algorithms are actually all around us. Common examples include the recipe for baking a cake, or the method we use to solve a long division problem, the process of folding your laundry, as well as the functionality of a search engine. These are all algorithms. So today we're talking about social media algorithms, and specifically the algorithms of Instagram. So these algorithms determine what Instagram content gets seen, what performs best, and what does not show up on you or your audience's feeds. A common myth regarding Instagram is that there is one algorithm. How many times have all of us cursed at our feed, this dang algorithm, thinking it's just the one? So truth be told, there are multiples. It's not just one beast. And these all determine the processes for different elements of Instagram. Instagram Reels, the Instagram feed, Instagram stories, and the Instagram Explore page all have different algorithms. So in case you're not familiar, Instagram Reels are short videos, often stitched together in a creative way to match an audio clip or music. You can see a screenshot here on the far left. So from this, you're going to get a glimpse of what my personal algorithm for Instagram Reels looks like. Next, you'll see a screenshot from the Instagram feed. So this is what those of us who came to Instagram in its origin days remember: a simple square photo or a video with a caption underneath. Next is Instagram stories, which are short, temporary photos or video clips designed to be watched before they expire and disappear within 24 hours. You'll see the series of round images at the top of this screenshot here. Those are all different stories from different profiles. Lastly, on the far right, you'll see the Explore page. This is for when you use Instagram's search features to explore a certain topic, location, or hashtag, like a search engine. You'll see here, I searched for pizza, and this is what showed up. So for each of these four elements, there are unique algorithms, and they all determine what shows up on my page, as well as what shows up on your page. What's really interesting is you could hop onto your phone right now and discover completely different content in all four of these sections because of these algorithms. So now we know that these four algorithms exist. It's not just one. So let's dig in a little further. We are going to talk about the algorithm for Instagram feeds first. And I want to pause and note, we are going to go into some details on all four algorithms, but it's pretty important to note that they are all quite similar. And toward the end of the presentation, I'm going to offer some more generalized tips to use in your marketing strategy to put all this information to use for your business. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by trying to keep one algorithm separate from the other, don't worry, we'll get to the actionable steps. Also, another important note, all of the following information is from an article from Later, which is a social media scheduling application. And this was published in 2022 with facts confirmed by Instagram themselves. And the reason I share this with you is because the algorithm is constantly changing. And there are a lot of myths that circulate around these algorithms, which I'm sure many of you have heard. So everything I'm sharing with you today is confirmed by the folks at Instagram and was created within the last couple months. So there are four key factors that influence the Instagram algorithm for feed posts. The first is information about the post. Is it a photo? Is it a video? What time of day was it posted? How many likes does it have? How many people have shared it? Next is information about the poster in relationship to you as the person viewing. How interesting are they to you? Are they your friend? How often do people engage with their content? Next, your other activity on the app. Do you tend to watch a lot of videos? Or maybe you look at more photos? What type of content do you typically engage with? Next, your interaction history. Do you typically like or comment on the poster's posts? So based on this information, Instagram's algorithm calculates how likely someone is to interact with a post, known as a score of interest, which is relatively unimportant, but a fun fact. And this score of interest ultimately determines the order in which posts are displayed in their feed, just like I showed you with those stories. But that's not all. They also take into consideration the likelihood of 5 important interactions. So interactions being the things you do as a user of Instagram. First is time spent. How much time is spent on the post? I think this is particularly relevant if it's a video. Do you stick around and watch the whole thing, or do you quickly scroll past? Next, likes. How likely are you to like the post? Comments. How likely are you to comment on the post? Saves. How likely are you to save the post? And taps on profile. How likely are you to tap on the profile after seeing the post and looking at more of what they're offering in their feed? So in this image on the right, you'll see some yellow circles here, and these just call out these interactions. On the far right, you see that little banner. That's how you save a post. It saves it in a library, and then you can reference it later. So maybe this would be a way that you save recipes or ideas for decorating your home. Towards the left, you see the heart, which is how you like, the little comment bubble, which is how you comment. That little paper airplane is how you share it with your friends. And then at the very top, you can click on the username and go to their feed. So that would be what the taps on profile is. So the more likely you are to take an action on Instagram, and the more heavily Instagram weighs that action, the higher up you're going to see that post. So the algorithm for stories is pretty similar to the algorithm for your feed. Typically, Instagram stories that appear at the start of your feed are from accounts that you engage with the most based on those interactions I shared previously. So you and I could be following the exact same people on Instagram, but my stories look like what you see on the screen. That doesn't mean that yours will look the same. The ones you're most likely to interact with will show up in these first few spots because Instagram thinks that you're gonna like it, and so they show it to you first. And if you think about it from a business standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. Instagram created a tool and they want people to stay on it and use it because then it's successful. So the best chance of success is they're gonna show people the stuff that's gonna keep them on the app. And that's different for me than it is for you. Reels are the newest feature to Instagram and a great place to begin to play if you're looking to grow your audience. According to Instagram, brands and creators should create reels that are entertaining, inspiring, or experimental, and use creative tools like text, camera effects, or filters. So in order to have your reel prioritized in your audience's feed, you should also avoid posting Instagram reels that are low resolution, too blurry, or are visibly recycled from other apps. These types of reels will be deprioritized, meaning they'll be less likely to appear on the Explore page and the Instagram Reels tab. And again, if you think about this as a business, the way this came to be was because people were creating content on an app called TikTok, maybe you've heard of it, and then they were posting it to Instagram Reels. Because they have a similar platform, Instagram wasn't cool with this, and so they figured out a way to deprioritize that content that was being copied and pasted from TikTok and making it so you were making this content on their platform. So the details of the algorithm for Instagram Reels aren't quite as clear as they are for feeds and stories. However, just as is true in any part of the platform, content that is most likely to be engaged with is prioritized. So I'm really showing my cards to you here today, but here's an example of some screen grabs that showed up on my personal Reels feed when I opened it the other afternoon to make these slides. So clearly the algorithm recognizes what I engage with, what I send to my friends, what I comment on, and they show me more of it. So you'll see a pattern here, and you have your own patterns too. And frankly, I'm quite happy with my pattern. It makes me smile. So last but not least is the Explore page. Overall, the Explore page and the feed algorithm are, again, quite similar, as I've said. They both deliver content Instagram thinks you'll be most interested in based on your prior interactions. However, while your Instagram feed is made up of content from accounts you already follow, the Explore page consists almost entirely of content from new accounts. So according to Instagram, the most important actions we predict in Explore include likes, saves, and shares. And the most important signals for the Explore page algorithm are information about the post. How popular is it? How much engagement does it get? And how quickly does that happen? If a lot of people are liking, commenting, sharing, and saving a post, that's a huge indicator for the Explore page's algorithm. Next is your history of interacting with the person who posted. Have you interacted with this person or their content in the past? If so, how much? Even if you don't follow them. Third is your activity. What type of content do you usually like, save, and share? How do you interact with other posts in Explore? It'll show you more of what you like, just like you saw with my cats. Lastly, information about the person who posted and their performance. How many people have interacted with this person in the past few weeks? How well is their content performing? Ultimately, Instagram wants to show you the best of the best for you. And so this is how they try to find it. So unfortunately, there's no perfect way to beat the algorithm or to guarantee that your posts are going to get the engagement that you want. However, here are some tips. You can begin to integrate these into your Instagram strategy, and they'll help you encourage those interactions that Instagram is looking for in order to prioritize your content in the feeds of your customers and ideal customers. I'm going to pause for a second and check the questions and take a drink of water. Leanne, I will share that later article. I'll send it with the recording because I don't have it on me right now. All right. Are there times when some algorithms are best to use? I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to come back to it. Okay, so back to these tips. Thank you for letting me water pause. So here are some tips to begin to integrate into your strategy that is going to encourage that interaction. 1, share Instagram Reels. If you haven't played with this feature yet, dive in and start to experiment. I recognize that it can be overwhelming to try a new thing, and the desire to execute it perfectly is preventing many from pressing publish. So I'm here to tell you, just start, see how it goes, and maybe you'll be surprised what you discover. Next, use Instagram Stories stickers. These are the features within your stories that allow you to ask questions, launch a poll, encourage interactions. And we now know that interactions are at the heart of content success all across Instagram. These are quick and simple tools that can help you build more connection with your audience and push your content into a higher up position on the apps. So you'll see on the left here, you can tag other accounts, you can tag your location and use a hashtag, but you can also launch a poll or ask a question or use this little heart emoji guy as a way to do a kind of like a ranking. So these are all really quick and easy ways to use the tools that Instagram has built for you to start to cultivate some of this connection. Next, encourage conversation on your posts. Similarly, you want to encourage others to leave comments on your posts. So ask questions in those captions and interact with those who do comment. And keep the conversation rolling as opposed to posting and walking away entirely or leaving comments unresponded to. Next, use hashtags. Take some time to research hashtags that are specific and relevant to your business and the content you're sharing and begin to use them in your Instagram posts. So you'll see here on the left, a big old list of hashtags. And what I want you to notice about these are random, just a screen grab from the internet, but they're all pretty specific. So I want you to use more specific hashtags than more generic ones. So if you post a picture of a cat, instead of saying hashtag cat, hashtag black cat, hashtag house cat, start to dig around and find something a little more specific. And a question I get all the time is, okay, well, where do I find these hashtags? This is a great way to dig into your Explore page and to see the content there and what hashtags they're using. Find other people who are sharing similar content to you and take a peek at what they're doing and give it a try. Number 5, cross-promote your content. Think about how you can partner with others who are working to grow their online reach as well. Perhaps you create collaborative content with the businesses on your street, or simply make sure to tag the brand accounts for the products you're selling in your store. The more reshares, comments, and interactions you get from this, the better for your overall performance. So if you post a picture of a collection of products from your store, make sure you tag the accounts that relate to all of those products, because then you have a better chance of getting a little more interaction. Last but not least, analyze your performance. Marketing is ultimately an experiment, and I know that can be so frustrating for many. So as you try these new tools and integrate new habits into your marketing strategy, watch your performance. Notice how your interactions change. So you can keep track of this in your insights, which you can find at the top of your feed. You can find information on activity, content, and your audience. But you can also just pay attention. Notice when you post a certain kind of post, if you get more comments, or notice if you get more likes when you spend time responding to comments, or notice if you get more attention when you use those story stickers. Regardless of what you choose to integrate, being consistent and building a genuine relationship with your followers is the most powerful way to work with these algorithms, all 4 of them. I encourage you to start to experiment and to find a way to connect to your online community in a way that works for you. So think about where you'd like to start, and feel free to share that in the chat. There's a lot to be said for speaking your intention into the room. So with that, I'm gonna jump into questions, and I know we already have some, but go ahead and keep typing those into the questions panel, and I am gonna get to them shortly. So just a quick note about our funding partners. The WWBC is made possible through several partnership agencies, and our primary funding comes from the U.S. Small Business Administration and the Wyoming Business Council. We're so thankful for the support and guidance, and really look forward to the work ahead. And I want to remind you that the WWBC is a standalone 501c3 nonprofit, and every donation made to our organization is tax deductible and goes directly to our mission of empowering Wyoming entrepreneurs, especially women, through our counseling, training, and microfinance programs. I always like to remind people that every micro gift is important, just like every micro enterprise in a Wyoming community is important. So if you feel this webinar was valuable to you, I encourage you to go to our website and consider a micro gift for a micro enterprise. Your $5 or $10 gift can make a huge difference in the programming we can offer and the number of entrepreneurs we can help. Lastly, before we hop into those questions, if you enjoyed today's training, you can find lots more of our upcoming and always free webinars at wyomingwomen.org. Click the training tab to see what's ahead and to register. Remember, if you can't make the live event, no stress. All registrants will receive a link to the recording in their inbox to watch as your schedule allows. We have a really full month of great content on financials, business planning, marketing, and much more, and an ever-expanding business education program that's unfolding in this new year, featuring content from our whole team here at WWBC. So I encourage you to keep an eye on this page. So with that, let's get into questions. I see that they're already here. Larissa, where should we add the hashtags? I've seen them at the bottom of the post, but then others add them as a separate comment. You know, I'm not totally sure if one is better than the other. My suggestion would be to put them in the post if you're sharing it exclusively on Instagram. I think many times people cross post content, and then all those hashtags end up on Facebook where they actually aren't relevant. So if it's on Instagram, I would do it in the post. If you're cross promoting it, then maybe do it in the comment. I also just saw a question that said, how many hashtags should you use? Is more better? Instagram recommends up to 30. That's a lot of hashtags. So I say pick a couple and use them. If you want to find 30, then great, but don't set yourself up for failure there. Okay, what are the easiest apps to use to create and edit reels? I find the idea of editing movies overwhelming. So all of that is actually built into Reels. You can do all of the editing on Instagram in the Reels feed. I'm sure there are apps for this. I don't know any off the top of my head, but my suggestion would be if you found somebody who's creating Reels, particularly in your community, that you are quite impressed with, then maybe you just reach out to them and ask them what their process looks like. Jennifer, do they use Facebook behavior in their algorithms, my likes and stuff? You know, they don't say that, but I wouldn't be surprised because we now know that Instagram and Facebook are a part of Meta, the metaverse, which is all one company. So my guess is there probably is some integration there. However, I couldn't tell you specifics on it today. Do you know if there's a way to be able to share other collaborators' posts to our stories from a computer? There could be an app for that. If anybody knows if there's an app for that, go ahead and type it in the chat. But in my experience, that's something that can only be done from a smartphone or a tablet. Is there a reason I get roughly the exact same number of likes every time? It seems that it's just the same people every single time seeing my posts. I mean, there is a reason for that, and the algorithm is precisely that reason. So what that tells me is you need to grow your audience, and you need to find more people to follow your page, which I'm sure you're thinking, oh yeah, I know, how do I do that? So one of my best suggestions for that is to start interacting with other accounts, to find other people who are doing similar work or other people in your community and start to follow them. But not just that, to also comment on their content, to start to build genuine relationships. So often people get kind of twisted up in content creation and forget that social media is social. It's for socializing. So that can't be a one-way street. So start to think about ways that you can socialize and you can have conversations with other people. And that can be a really great way to start to build connections and to start to bring more traffic to your page. However, that said, the fact that you're seeing the same people liking your posts is a great sign. You know that they're there, they're loyal to you, they enjoy what they're seeing. And so hopefully I hope you can take that as a sign that you're creating content that is reaching an audience and that you can keep doing that. Okay, it looks like, sorry, I'm reading a message from Christine who's on the call, and she said she just Googled for Leanne's question. You can post to Instagram from a PC, but there are some minor limitations. On its desktop version, Instagram only allows you to post images and videos to your profile. You can't post Instagram stories, IGTV posts, or reels from the web version. You also cannot start a live video. Jennifer asked, do they separate my personal behavior from my business behavior? Yes, because those are two different accounts associated with two different tags. And does using a program to plan out your posts ahead of time really work then? Larissa, I think it depends on, I think the question is, does it work for you? Every person is different. I really like to batch things and to plan things out that are for a campaign. Then I don't have to worry about it. However, I've done work for clients and for myself in the past where it was easier for me to create content on the fly day to day. So I would encourage you to experiment and to see how it feels like. Fortunately, most all of the social media scheduling apps have a free trial. So you could really test a lot of things out before you ever have to commit to anything. All right, I'm gonna answer one more, which is, how do I find my customers' pages? I feel like I can find similar businesses, but how far does that go? So you can't really find your specific customers' pages without being it's a little concerning to hunt people down individually. But what I mean when I say your customers is your ideal customer, So I would encourage you to think about what kind of patterns do you see in the people who are your customers, who shop with you or book your services or whatever it is that you do. So maybe you notice that they're all of a certain age, or that they all are interested in something and a different hobby. Maybe you have a quilt store and you notice that many of your customers also really like painting stores. I'm really just making something up here. So then you could start to interact with those types of accounts too. And I know that there's a lot of frustration in wanting this to happen very quickly and to think, oh gosh, how do I find these customers? How do I build? I want to see it built fast. And I'm going to end on this. Truth be told, growing your Instagram account for most people is slow and steady. You will see those people who say, I got 1,000 followers and everything blew up. That is rare. Sometimes people are doing some kind of sketchy things to do that. Sometimes they just get lucky. But to build accounts that have a really potent following of customers who are spending money with you and not just liking your posts, because I want your Instagram audience to buy from you. I don't want them just to heart your posts. It's going to take time and a little bit of strategy, but I promise it will happen. I'm sorry I can't get to everybody's questions. I had a feeling there was going to be a lot for this topic. So as I said, when I close this webinar here, a survey is going to pop up on your screen. It's just a quick 6-question survey, and I ask that you stay online and complete it. I read each of these, and it really helps us plan our upcoming calendar and improve our offerings. So thanks again for attending this webinar this morning. I look forward to seeing you again soon.